Today, let's talk emergency food storage, why you need to have food stored up, what to buy, especially when you're on a budget, and what not to buy. I love watching these types of videos, but a lot of times I see people storing and prepping for items that are probably not going to be great in an emergency.
I'm going to take you shopping with me while I go to Sam's and pick up some staples for my family that we are going to put back in storage. We are on a budget. I'll point out the things that you should and maybe shouldn't be buying if you are looking to start your own emergency food storage.
The past few years, we have all experienced a bit of uncertainty when it comes to being able to get exactly what we need when we go to the store. The world is becoming increasingly more unstable, and being able to get the food that you need or have the food that you need is extremely important. It doesn't have to be some catastrophe that takes out the entire food system. It could be something as individual as a job loss or a health emergency or maybe a natural disaster that happens in your area, a tornado, hurricane, snow or ice storm that takes you off grid for a few days or a few weeks. Or it could be something bigger. I mean, we just don't know. Most of our grandmas had entire rooms full of food storage. They hoarded cash around their house in secret places. And we all kind of used to laugh at their paranoia, but it's kind of not funny anymore. We have to remember the things that they experienced and learn from historical events because history repeats itself, and understand that relying on everything to stay the same and us to have unlimited access to food or whatever we have personally experienced in the past is a bit naive. I know it sucks to think about negative things happening. That's why a lot of people prefer to not prepare. But being realistically prepared is a lot less stressful than being caught off guard. Everyone needs to plan for an emergency, big or small. The number one mistake that I see people make is buying a lot of stuff that needs to be kept cold, that belongs in your refrigerator or your freezer. If the power goes out, then you are going to lose access to your refrigerator and freezer. Everything in there is going to go bad in a couple days. I see people with freezers full of meat and food, and it pains me to think about what's going to happen to all of that food if the power goes out for multiple days in a row. You could have, a generator or a solar setup that is going to run those things long term. If you are planning on stocking, a fridge or freezer with bulk items, you need to make sure that you have a backup power supply to keep those foods good. If you have a generator, you're going to have access to fuel. A solar setup is probably better. That would be my choice, but it is an investment. If you don't have a backup energy source that is strong enough to power a refrigerator freezer, then make sure that you are not keeping too much food in those two areas, because that would be pretty heartbreaking if you lost all of that food. Also, be aware of the items that need to be refrigerated after opening. I see a lot of people going to like Sam's or Costco and they buy these huge things of like salad dressing or a huge, massive can of vegetables. But like after you use it, you have to refrigerate it. And if the power's out and you don't have your refrigerator, like you got to eat it all right away. So you're going to have to eat a lot of salad dressing and green beans real fast if you want to not waste food.
You can buy some condiments like mustard and hot sauce are actually shelf stable after opening for quite a while. Ketchup and barbecue sauce last about a month without being refrigerated. But items like mayonnaise need to be refrigerated immediately after opening. Salad dressings, yum yum sauce, like all of those things you're not going to want to get. So you can get some things, you just have to be really aware of what things need to be refrigerated and what things don't. You can also find replacements for items that should be refrigerated. Jelly needs to be refrigerated after you open it, but you could replace that with honey and have like peanut butter and honey sandwiches versus peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Or if you wanted to have biscuits, you could have honey biscuits instead of jelly biscuits. You just have to kind of get creative and be open minded with the items that you are going to be using in an off grid situation. While you might be saving money if you buy these huge containers of beans or vegetables instead of the smaller individual ones, you're not going to be saving money if you have to throw most of it away after you open it because it needs to be refrigerated. So I really recommend just getting these smaller cans of veggies so that you make sure that you don't waste anything. Unless you have a really big family or you really like that particular item and you're willing to eat nothing but that for an entire day. Instead of getting these big jars of fruit that need to be refrigerated after you open them, it might be better to get these little fruit cups so nothing goes to waste or canned fruits. And then don't forget things like pasta sauce need to be refrigerated after opening, salsa, this Parmesan cheese, while initially it is shelf stable, once you open it, it has to be refrigerated. These salad dressings all have to be refrigerated after opening. You are going to have to make replacements. So instead of using these types of salad dressings, you might want to make your own with olive oil, vinegar, and some spices because lettuce is something really great to grow, but you're going to want a dressing for it. Lime juice, minced garlic, refrigerated after opening. And instead of buying this minced garlic, just get some fresh garlic. It actually stores for quite a long time if you keep it in a cool, dry place.
Only buy things that you will use, even if there was not an emergency, because the ideal situation is for there to not be an emergency and for you to still be able to use these items that you purchase and not waste them. Especially if you're on a budget, you can buy a few things every week when you go to the store just to kind of have extra food and like slowly build up your your storage. You want to be able to rotate that food out so it doesn't go bad, and it's stuff that you're already using and can incorporate into your current meal plan. Store what you eat and eat what you store. You're going to want to have things that you know that you like and not stuff that you're not sure about or, that you don't know how to prepare. Make sure that you know how to prepare the foods that you are storing up. If you do not know how to cook dry beans and you never have cooked dry beans before, you need to not store those or learn how to cook them. I love dry beans. I think beans are amazing. I love making soups with them and black bean burgers. You can make Mexican dishes. I mean, beans are very versatile and delicious, but you need to know how to make them before you stock up on them.
If you don't want to get dry beans, it's also perfectly okay to get canned beans. Canned beans are going to be a little bit more expensive, but they are already cooked. You just have to heat them up. So while it's a little bit more pricey, it might be worth the convenience.
Don't forget that when the power goes out, you also lose access to your microwave, your toaster, your coffee maker, your blender, your crock pot, your electric oven or stove. How are you going to cook your food? Make sure that you have a plan for that. I know that when we were in Florida, there was a hurricane. The storm wasn't really supposed to hit us like it did, but Florida, it always changes. And we thought that we were just going to tough it out, but we were not prepared in how we heated up our food. So we were outside, like trying to start a little fire to heat up our little cans of food. And that was just something that we were not fully prepared for. We are much more prepared now. You can just get like a camping stove and some propane so that you will at least be able to heat up like cans of soup and cook and stuff like that. If you have a gas oven and stove now, you will be able to use it. You just are going to have lighters to light it. And then knowing how to cook on the fire outside, how to build a fire, how to cook on a fire is very, very useful and a very basic, primitive skill that everybody should have. Building a fire and cooking on a fire is not super easy, is a learned skill. So I recommend that you practice that now. Go have fun in the woods, go to the woods, build a fire, cook on it, have fun learning how to do that. We do have like a little portable solar battery pack that can run basic appliances like our toaster or a blender. something small. It's not going to run your microwave or anything like that, but just having that in case you want to just heat something up real quick is also a really cool option to have. Listen, I know having healthy, home cooked, delicious meals is the ideal situation, but the reality is when you are in an emergency, things are pretty stressful. So you maybe don't want to have to cook a whole meal for your family in that type of situation. Have some just heat up meals, some ready to go meals, some prepared meals. You don't necessarily need a lot of them because they are a lot more expensive than like homemaking your food, but in a true emergency, you're going to want something super easy and super simple to like really decrease your stress as much as possible, at least in the beginning, at least to get you started. So have some canned soup, have some instant mashed potatoes, have some ramen. Are they the healthiest thing? No. Is it a great long-term solution? No, probably not. But it's fine. It feeds you, it gets you fed and keeps everybody happy. Having access to clean drinking water is so important. It is even more important than having access to food. It is recommended that you have 1 gallon per person per day in storage in case of an emergency. So you could store a bunch of water, or you could get a water filtration system that is going to be able to filter out just about any water. We have a Berkey water filtration system that we have been using for years. It will filter out even super nasty, disgusting water that makes it drinkable, including Florida tap water, which was disgusting. We never drank Florida tap water because it tasted like chlorine and sulfa. Berkeys are kind of expensive, so that will be something that you might want to save up for. But it is really good to have. Just in general, we like drinking clean water. We don't like to drink the tap water. We like to filter all that out. So having a Berkey has been beneficial for us not only in an emergency situation, but also in the short term. You can also get a cheaper water filtration system, just like a Brita or some store brand that will filter your water most of the way and make it mostly safe. Or, you can just store up some water and know where to access water if you need to. Like we have a spring about a mile from our house. It's a artesian spring and it is safe drinking water. So maybe look for a place like that in your area. And don't forget, not only are you going to need water for drinking, but you need water for lots of other things, for keeping yourself clean, for cleaning dishes, for doing laundry. Uh, there are a lot of things that you need water for. You will learn how to conserve water. We're living off grid. We do not have a faucet. We have to be very conscious about how much water we use. You also need water to flush the toilets, so maybe consider that. I did a whole video on how we live without running water, and you can check that out for other things besides food storage. Don't forget about your pets. Your pets are going to need food and water also. So make sure that you have enough food stored up for them. Maybe every so often when you go to the store, buy an extra bag of food until you have, a month or so of food in storage for your pet. Make sure that you're checking the needed ingredient list, like when you are buying some sort of mix like pancake mix or Jiffy cornbread mix. Look at the ingredients and make sure that you do not need to add something that is not shelf stable, like eggs or milk or things that you might not have. It is much easier to just buy things that are just add water just for convenience. All of those things are already in there and you don't need a whole bunch of extra non-shelf stable ingredients to make the item. You can also learn about shelf stable replacement options. For example, they make powdered milk or shelf stable milk. Once you open this shelf stable milk, you do have to keep it refrigerated, but they have smaller ones that maybe you guys could use up in a day if it's an entire family. You can also replace eggs with some ground flaxseed. You can replace buttermilk by using a little bit of shelf stable milk and adding a little vinegar to it. You could replace butter with oil. There's just lots of different options that you should go ahead and learn about so that you're not caught off guard when you might need to bake something. Learn to make things from scratch. With just a few basic ingredients, you can make bread, pasta, tortillas, soups, desserts, just all sorts of things. Learn to make these items now. Not only is it going to make you feel more confident in an emergency situation, but it's going to be healthier and save you money now to cook things from scratch. So start working on maybe one new item a week. It's also way more delicious when you home make stuff.
Some of the basic items that you will want to stock up on for baking are things like flour and sugar. I got this cocoa powder for the winter so we can make all types of cocoa or desserts with chocolate. Sam's has been a great place to get these bulk items for an affordable price. This is pure vanilla extract that we like to keep, some yeast for making breads. Oatmeal is super versatile. You can cook the oatmeal, just for your basic oatmeal. You can add peanut butter, honey, like all types of stuff to oatmeal to make it really delicious. You can also make overnight oats if you don't have access to heating your food. You just can put water in whatever else you want to and soak it overnight, and it is ready to go the next morning. Rice is a great calorie bulking food to add to like soups and all different types of dishes to really like bulk it up when you are needing to save some money. Vinegar can be used for cooking and for cleaning, disinfecting. Oils are important to have for baking and cooking. There's tons of different types of oils. My number one oil to keep is coconut oil because not only is it like a sweeter oil that is great in baked goods, but it can also be used as an antiseptic. We use it instead of like diaper rash cream. You can use it in your mouth as like oil pulling instead of toothpaste to help keep your teeth clean. You can put it on your skin to help keep your skin healthy. So coconut oil, if you had to only pick one type of oil, get some coconut oil. Nuts and seeds are great to have for a good source of healthy fats. You can also make like dishes out of them. We like to use raw cashews as a shelf stable option for making like creamy sauces like ranch or sour cream. You can just soak them in water, and if you're able to use a blender, just blend them up and add some spices, seasonings to them, and you have ranch and sour cream and all these different types of creamy dressings without the milk. And then they're also just a great snack option to have around for, those healthy fats, especially if you have kids. Canned tomato products can be used to make pasta sauces, barbecue sauce, throw it in some soups and stews. I make sure I have a variety of different tomato products. I get the diced tomatoes, tomato sauce, and tomato paste just to have lots of options. Tomatoes are also a great source of vitamin C, which can be hard to get if you're eating a lot of other shelf stable products. You're going to want to make sure you have snacks, especially if you have kids. Now, these individual snacks are not the most affordable option, but I would make sure that you have at least some just to make your life a little bit easier. Sam's is a great place to get these at a pretty affordable price. We only keep like a box or two of these around and don't usually use them very often. Mainly when we go hiking and stuff, we'll kinda utilize them. And these little fruit and veggie pouches can be good for kids, especially if you have little kids. Now, don't forget, you're probably not gonna have milk, but cereal is still an okay snack if it's dried cereal. Dried and dehydrated fruits, veggies are a great way to make sure that you still have fruits and veggies even in an emergency, like if you can't get to the store, and it's a good shelf stable option. I was really shocked at the amount of dried fruit that Sam's had. We do really like dried fruit, and it is something that we do take hiking with us often, and you can put it in oatmeal and stuff like that. We don't usually do that on a regular basis because it is expensive, but it is a great hiking snack in the present moment. And then just remember that like these pastas seem easy, but they have to be microwaved. And this macaroni and cheese, you need to add milk and butter to it. So while some things seem easy, they really probably won't work. These little Chef Boyardee things are designed for the microwave. Just buy a can of them, it's gonna cost you a lot less money. Like, regular pasta is great. You can just boil it in some water and, like, add it to a lot of dishes, just make spaghetti. If you wanted macaroni and cheese, this pasta plus some Velveeta, which is shelf stable, would be a great option. For your baking products, don't forget items like cornstarch, baking powder, baking soda, and definitely don't forget your spices and seasonings. This is the way that you are going to make your food really taste delicious, and Sam's has a plethora of spices and seasonings. Start out with the basics, some pepper and salt. I basically add this to everything that I cook and be really efficient to get these packets or bottles of seasoning that have multiple different types of seasonings in them that are kind of already, like a flavor like this garlic and herb has like all these different spices in there. This is great if you don't have a lot of individual spices already, or you don't know really what you like or how to add spices to things. This is just like a really easy option where everything is together and you just have to buy one packet of seasoning. Or you can buy some individual packets of seasonings, like cinnamon is something that we use a lot of. And we also use a lot of chili powder. Definitely have some baking soda because, again, just like the vinegar, this is a great like cleaning product and a cooking product. It can be used as toothpaste. Baking soda is very, very versatile. If you drink coffee, make sure you have a plan for coffee. There are lots and lots of options. If you don't have electricity, you are not going to have your Keurig machine or your coffee maker unless you have some sort of like battery pack. You are going to have like maybe a pour over, a French press where you can boil some water, or even instant coffee. That is a reasonable option. You can have it hot or cold. So just make sure if you are a coffee drinker that you have that planned out. Having a few paper products like paper plates, paper cups, paper bowls might be helpful in an emergency just for convenient purposes. This isn't something that we keep, but remember if you don't have access to a lot of water, washing dishes is going to be kind of inconvenient. Trash bags are very necessary and they can be used for a variety of things. Of course, trash, but they can also be like a good tarp or some sort of water barrier. Just having lots of trash bags is definitely recommended. We all know about toilet paper. Nobody wants to run out of toilet paper. And we all know that that's something that people rush to the store to get before anything else, even food. Paper towels, we keep these paper towels just in case. Protein powder is something good to have for like extra vitamins and minerals. You can just mix it with water. And don't forget your first aid. Make sure you have like fever reducers, pain medicine, you can have allergy medicine, and then definitely don't forget your kids. Fever reducers are so important when you have little kids. Have at least a basic first aid kit with basic first aid stuff, band-aids, hydrogen peroxide, alcohol. If you can get even more than basics, that is probably a good idea, but at least have the very basics around.
I recently did a video on our winter pantry haul where I went to Sam's and I stocked up on a whole bunch of pantry items that we are stocking up for this winter. If you want to see exactly what I bought and what I spent, you can check out this video right here. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching.